Sleep training, one of the most controversial phrases in early years parenting. Before you have a baby, you don't really know what it means. But to be honest, you probably had an opinion about it. Is it the cry it out method, the Ferber method, strict no contact rules? Well, yes and no. To be fair, there are plenty of different approaches and lots of different techniques. Personally, I jumped at the chance to hand over cash to solve the problem. The problem being that, despite having a positive mental attitude, I was completely exhausted from sleep deprivation and simply trying to work out what the problem was with my 6-month-old. I followed the guidance meticulously, and it worked, mostly. But for a long time, I focused on what I thought was the fundamental principle: teaching your child to self-settle. The routines, biology of nap times, environmental cues, they all point to this, don't they? But when the haze of exhaustion cleared, I had a light bulb moment. Bedtime battles weren't just about routines or biology. They were about something much deeper. That realisation was a game changer for me, and it's transformed how I help other parents handle bedtime resistance today. It wasn't just about teaching my kids to self-settle after all. And when I figured it out, everything changed. Overnight, so to speak. What even is sleep training? A strict rulebook? Or some kind of mystical parenting magic? Kind of. Sleep training is simply a broad term for techniques aimed at helping babies and toddlers learn to sleep independently. And it's growing in popularity. Recent surveys show that around 63% of parents in the US try some form of sleep training. Not surprising, considering what we also know about how damaging sleep deprivation can be on us physically and mentally. There are loads of methods out there: cry out, modified extinction, parental presence, the list goes on. But while the approaches vary, the heart of sleep training is pretty universal. It's about creating the right conditions for sleep and teaching little ones to self-settle. You've probably heard terms like wake windows, sleep hygiene, or put them down drowsy but awake. These aren't just trendy buzzwords, they're science-backed strategies that work with your baby's biology. Here's how it works. Wake windows help you time naps so your baby isn't overtired or undertired. Both can sabotage sleep. Sleep hygiene, think consistent bedtime routines like bath, story, bed. These can help your baby associate certain activities with winding down. The sleep environment, things like blackout curtains, white noise, and a cool room, creates a perfect backdrop for rest. And then there's baby sleep cycles, shorter than ours, meaning they wake more frequently and need to learn how to settle themselves back to sleep. But let's address the elephant in the room. Sleep training has a bit of a reputation. Some people hear it and picture babies crying in dark rooms while parents sit outside clutching a timer. And while there are methods that involve leaving your baby to cry, that's not the whole story. For many parents, it's more about creating predictability and comfort. It's about helping babies feel secure enough to fall asleep on their own, not abandoning them. And for a while, that's exactly how I saw it, a practical solution to a very real problem. I followed all the rules and it worked, pretty much. And I still recommend my chosen method now. Drop a comment below if you want me to share the method I chose. But as I look back, I realised I was so focused on how to get my babies to sleep that I missed the deeper why. Sleep training isn't just about teaching self-settling after all. And that perspective completely changed how I approach bedtime. Here's what I didn't fully grasp at the time. Bedtime battles aren't just about routines or biology. They're about emotional safety. You see, sleep is the ultimate act of separation for a child. Bedtime resistance is their way of asking, am I safe? Will you still be here when I wake up? No amount of blackout curtains or perfectly timed wake windows can fully address that question if they're feeling anxious. In psychology, we call this separation anxiety. It's the deep, instinctive fear of being apart from someone they rely on for safety and security. And it's a totally normal part of cognitive maturation. An imbalance of two neurotransmitters, norepinephrine and serotonin, likely plays a role in separation anxiety. These chemicals are involved in mood regulation and stress responses. For young children, bedtime signals separation when they feel they're most vulnerable. They're alone, in the dark, for hours. Their brains can't yet process that you're just down the hall or understand the permanence of your presence. To them, out of sight can feel like you're gone forever. I'll never forget when my daughter was a baby. She had trouble settling one night, and in desperation, I gave her one of my breast pads to sleep with. At the time, I thought, oh, she must just like the smell because I'm breastfeeding. But now, looking back, I realise it wasn't just about the smell at all. That was her way of saying, I need to feel close to you. I need to feel safe. And now she's 6, long past the days of breast pads, and yet every so often she still asks for something of mine to sleep with, like a scarf or a jumper. This need for reassurance doesn't just vanish as they grow, it evolves. It shifts from, I need you to hold me, to, I need to know you're still here. And honestly, don't we all kind of feel a bit like that as adults? It's primal. In the wild, animals only sleep when they feel safe, when the environment around them feels secure. And we're no different. Think about it. When you're worried or stressed, how easy is it to sleep? For kids, that feeling of safety comes from us. Their tiny, developing brains can't quite regulate their emotions or reassure themselves the way we can. So they look to us, their parents, to create that sense of connection and safety. That's why bedtime resistance often isn't about being naughty. It's about seeking comfort. They're not trying to frustrate you. What they're doing is they're saying, I don't feel ready to separate from you. There's a cruel irony, of course. The end of the day, when we're absolutely done, yearning to collapse on the sofa in peace and quiet, that's the exact moment when our kids need us the most. They don't just want the bedtime story or the goodnight kiss. They crave our raw closeness, our reassurance that we're still there. Talk about a conflict. Getting to the place where you understand that bedtime battles aren't just about sleep, but are about connection, will change everything for you. You can find a way to meet your child's needs and preserve your own sanity. Trust me, it's possible. And I want to show exactly how you can make it work for your family. Let's face it, one of the main words we associate with bedtime battles is frustration. And what is frustration really? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition, it's a deep, chronic sense or state of insecurity and dissatisfaction arising from unresolved problems or unfulfilled needs. Sound familiar? You don't understand why they won't just go to bed, and they don't understand why you keep pushing them away, or at least that's how it seems to them. It's a cycle of misunderstanding, and that's why connection is the missing piece. I firmly believe in the stability of strong bedtime routines and meeting biological needs, but here are some additional practical ways to bridge that gap of separation while still keeping your routines intact. Start by using simple, comforting phrases during bedtime. Something like, you're safe, I'm always nearby, or I'm just in the next room, can go a long way into soothing their worries. Kids need to hear it over and over sometimes, because repetition builds trust. Establish a bedtime ritual that signals safety and connection. It could be a favourite song, a bedtime mantra, or a special story you tell them every night. For example, something like, Riley is safe, Riley is cosy, Riley will sleep, and Mummy will always be here in the morning. This kind of predictability is deeply reassuring. Give them something tangible that reminds them of you. It could be a piece of your clothing or even a photo by their bed. A favourite toy can work too. These comfort objects or transitional objects provide emotional support and help children feel safe, especially at bedtime. Lots of studies have shown that some kids believe their favourite items have a unique essence, which makes them irreplaceable sources of security. Plus, kids with strong bonds to comfort objects often feel more confident and connected to their parents. It's a simple way to blend connection and independence, helping your child settle more easily. It's not about dependency, it's about reassurance. If your child struggles to settle on their own, try the gradual retreat method. Sit with them as they fall asleep, but over the course of a few nights or weeks, move further away from the bed until you're out of the room entirely. It's a gentle way to build their confidence. Build their sense of security through small, safe separations during the day. For example, tell them you're going to go into another room to grab something and then come back quickly. These moments help them trust that even when you leave, you always come back. When your child feels safe, they're better equipped to relax and settle. We need to meet their emotional needs so they can confidently embrace sleep. And trust me, when you combine connection with structure, bedtime gets easier for everyone. If this resonates with you and you'd like more practical tools and expert guidance, I go into much more detail in my Empowered Parent Blueprint community. It's packed with strategies to help you navigate bedtime and loads of other challenges with confidence. If separation anxiety is also a struggle during the day, have a look at my video here for even more strategies that work both day and night. See you there.